Chapter 1. The House That Learned Silence. The house stood quietly on a street designed for quiet people. White siding, clean driveway, windows that reflected the sky without revealing much of what was happening inside. It was the kind of place neighbors trusted without knowing why. Ethan trusted patterns more than appearances. Every morning followed the same rhythm. 6:12 a.m., the coffee machine clicked on. 6:15, the kettle followed. 6:20, the newspaper folded once, then twice. Routine was honest. People were not. Claire used to wake up with him. She used to reach for his arm before the alarm rang, used to mumble half-finished sentences, used to smell like sleep and familiarity. Now she slept facing the wall. Ethan noticed it before he allowed himself to name it. The phone on the nightstand, always face down. The smile that arrived late and left early. The kisses that landed on his cheek instead of his mouth. Small things. Small things were never small. Claire believed love faded quietly, that marriages aged like furniture, worn but still useful. She told herself she wasn't betraying anyone. She was simply choosing happiness. Daniel helped her believe that. "You're not doing anything wrong," he whispered, his voice practiced. "You're just finally honest with yourself." Claire liked the sound of that. Honesty, choice, freedom. What she didn't know was that Ethan had begun counting, not messages, not calls, changes, and changes, unlike people, never lied. Chapter 2. What he didn't need to read. Claire's phone lay on the hallway table. Ethan picked it up carefully, as if weight mattered. It was still warm. She had left it behind without realizing it. That was not carelessness. It was habit. The passcode opened easily. Claire had never changed it. Sentiment had always felt safer than caution. The screen filled with nothing remarkable, no confessions, no incriminating messages, no obvious betrayal glowing back at him. Claire was careful, or believed she was. Ethan scrolled slowly. Photos of meals she hadn't cooked at home. Sunsets she hadn't shared with him. Message threads that ended too abruptly. Then he noticed what wasn't there. Entire conversations erased. Time gaps that shouldn't exist. Absence is louder than evidence. Ethan didn't read further. He didn't need to. Upstairs, the shower ran longer than usual. Ethan placed the phone back exactly where it had been. Same angle, same distance from the edge. He washed his hands afterward, not because they were dirty, but because the moment had ended. That night, Claire fell asleep quickly. Ethan stared at the ceiling and made a decision. He would not confront her. Confrontation gives the guilty a chance to improve their lies. Instead, he would observe. Chapter 3. Patterns always return. Affairs are not built on passion. They are built on schedules. Tuesdays became earlier. Thursdays became later. Saturday afternoons became errands. Ethan adjusted without comment. He learned the routes Claire took, the cafes she suddenly preferred, the places where people felt anonymous enough to pretend. On a Tuesday morning, Ethan followed her. Not closely, never closely. 3 cars behind, 1 turn late. Claire parked near a downtown cafe that pretended to be intimate but lived on exposure. Daniel was already there. Ethan watched through the glass. Daniel leaned in when he spoke. Claire laughed with her whole body. Her hand rested on his arm longer than it should have. Ethan noticed something else. Daniel never reached for the check. Claire always paid. Control often disguises itself as affection. That evening, Ethan began documenting. Not emotionally, precisely. Accounts, policies, shared assets, clauses written for people who believed love was permanent. Claire grew lighter. Guilt fades when it isn't questioned. One night, she said, "You've been very calm lately." Ethan looked up from his book. "Should I be something else?" She smiled. "No, I like it." She mistook restraint for weakness. Chapter 4. The Mirror Scene. Claire locked the bathroom door. She leaned over the sink, gripping the porcelain until her knuckles turned pale. Her reflection stared back at her, composed, controlled, untouched. "I'm not a bad person," she whispered. The words sounded rehearsed. She tried again. "I didn't plan this." Silence answered her. She imagined Ethan's face, not angry, not pleading, watching. The thought unsettled her more than guilt ever had. Her phone vibrated. Daniel. She didn't answer immediately. For the first time, fear surfaced, not of being caught, but of being seen clearly. Claire straightened, wiped her face, unlocked the door, and returned to the bedroom. The lie held, but thinner now. Chapter 5. The Long Game. Ethan didn't rush. People who rush want relief. Ethan wanted resolution. He withdrew quietly. He stopped asking Claire where she was going, stopped pretending to wait up for her, stopped reacting. Silence unsettled her more than anger ever could. Claire watched him from doorways and mirrors. He was present but unreachable, like a room with the lights on and no one inside. One evening she asked, "Are we okay?" Ethan considered the question. "I think we are," he said. That answer disturbed her. It wasn't reassurance. It was a conclusion. That night, Ethan opened a folder on his computer. Separation. Not yet divorce. Preparation comes before movement. Chapter 6. What She Never Looked at Affairs. Create blind spots. Claire stopped checking shared accounts, stopped reading mail carefully, stopped questioning adjustments. Ethan made those adjustments quietly. Policies updated, beneficiaries reassigned, assets separated legally, invisibly. He consulted professionals who valued discretion. Everything he did was calm, documented, clean. Meanwhile, Daniel grew bolder. He called at inconvenient hours, left messages that lingered too long, spoke of futures he hadn't earned. "You deserve more," he told Claire. She believed him. Ethan heard Daniel's voice once, a voicemail Claire deleted too slowly. Confident, certain. Men like that confuse access with power. Ethan didn't. Chapter 7. Almost Caught. Claire stopped halfway up the stairs. "Did you go through my phone?" she asked. Ethan looked up from his work. No. Not defensive, not offended, factual. She waited. "That's it?" she asked. "What answer would make you comfortable?" Ethan replied. Her stomach tightened. "Nothing," she said quickly. "I was just asking." Ethan nodded and returned to his screen. Claire stood there longer than necessary, heart racing. If he had checked her phone, she would never know. That night, Claire barely slept. Ethan slept deeply. Chapter 8. Setting the Exit. The preparations took months. Ethan arranged his life like furniture in a house he no longer planned to live in. He strengthened friendships Claire had ignored, accepted invitations she declined, reclaimed parts of himself she had stopped seeing. He slept better. Claire noticed. "You seem lighter," she said. "So do you," Ethan replied. She smiled, relieved. She mistook acceptance for surrender. By the time Claire felt ready to leave him, truly ready, Ethan had already removed every advantage she thought she had. The ending would not be loud. It would be clean. Chapter 9. The day she chose Thursday, Claire chose a Thursday. Thursdays felt reasonable, organized, adult. She rehearsed the conversation all morning. Calm voice, honest tone, no accusations. She would frame it as a necessary ending, not a betrayal. Ethan noticed immediately. She dressed carefully. Neutral colors, nothing provocative. She wanted to look like someone making a difficult but respectable decision. At dinner, she barely touched her food. "I think we need to talk," she said. Ethan nodded. "Of course." The ease of his response unsettled her. "I've been unhappy," she continued, "for a long time." "I know," Ethan said. She hesitated. "You know?" "You've been unhappy," he repeated. She swallowed. "I don't think this marriage is working anymore." Ethan leaned back slightly, creating space without retreating. "If you've decided," he said, "we should do this properly." Relief crossed her face. She mistook composure for permission. Chapter 10. The calm that misled her. The separation progressed smoothly, too smoothly. Ethan didn't argue, didn't beg, didn't suggest counseling. He helped her pack. He suggested mediation, fairness, clarity. Claire told Daniel everything. "He's being mature," she said, almost detached. "That means he's given up," Daniel replied. Men like Daniel always misunderstand silence. Claire signed documents without reading them closely. Trusted Ethan the way you trust someone you believe you've already defeated. She moved out first. Temporary apartment, temporary freedom, temporary confidence. The night she left, she paused at the door. "You're taking this very well," she said. Ethan met her eyes. "I'm taking it seriously." She didn't hear the difference. Chapter 11. The Reveal. The consequences arrived quietly. First an email, then another, then a call she wasn't prepared for. Access restricted, accounts restructured, benefits reassigned, nothing illegal, nothing aggressive. Final. Claire drove to Ethan's house without thinking. He was waiting, calm, composed, expecting her. "You knew," she said. Ethan nodded. "How long?" "Long enough." "Why didn't you say anything?" she asked. "Because if I had," Ethan said, "you would have learned how to lie better." She felt the words settle. "You're not angry," Claire said. "No. That scares me." "Anger would suggest you still mattered in the same way." She flinched. "You loved me," she said. "Yes," Ethan replied, "until you taught me not to." Silence filled the room. "Was there ever a moment," she asked quietly, "you almost stopped?" Ethan considered the question. No. That was the cruelty, not the planning, the certainty. Chapter 12. The man who left clean. The divorce finalized without spectacle. No raised voices, no public drama. Daniel disappeared once complications appeared, once Claire became inconvenient. Ethan moved into a new apartment, new routines, new mornings. On his first morning alone, the coffee machine clicked on at 6:12 a.m. Some habits deserved to survive. He stood by the window, watching the city wake, and felt something unfamiliar. Peace. Not because he had won, but because he had remained himself. Later that week, Claire sent one final message. "I didn't think you were capable of this." Ethan read it once, then deleted it. Some lessons don't need replies.